Life is astonishingly short. When viewed through the lens of time, the average human lifespan equates to only around 4,000 weeks. This startlingly finite number serves as the central premise around which 4,000 weeks orbits, a provocative meditation on the brevity of life and a call to embrace the limitations that define it. The book urges readers not to see time as a problem to be solved or conquered, but as the very substance of life itself, a medium in which meaning and depth are cultivated, not optimized. It challenges the prevailing cultural obsession with efficiency, productivity, and endless self-optimization, presenting instead a radically different approach to living fully and meaningfully within our limitations. From the outset, the book dismantles the illusion that we can get on top of everything. Modern productivity culture sells the promise that, with the right tools or habits, we can master our to-do lists, achieve inbox zero, and somehow make time for everything. But this is a fantasy rooted in denial. The truth is that no matter how efficient we become, we will never be able to do it all. In fact, the more efficiently we handle tasks, the more tasks seem to flood in to fill the available space. Recognizing this is not an admission of failure, but a moment of clarity. Realizing the impossibility of doing everything frees us to focus on what truly matters. One of the core insights revolves around the paradox of choice and the anxiety of potential. In a world brimming with opportunities, it's easy to fall into the trap of deferring life, waiting for the perfect time to begin writing that book, start a family, travel, or launch a project. But every decision to do one thing is also a decision not to do countless others. Embracing finitude means accepting the trade-offs of life and choosing deliberately, knowing full well we will miss out on many paths. Instead of being paralyzed by infinite options, we should anchor ourselves to meaningful ones, even if it means forgoing others forever. Time is not something we have like a resource or commodity. It's something we are. This shift in perspective is crucial. When we treat time as a possession, we fall into a control-oriented mindset, constantly trying to maximize and stretch it. But when we recognize that time is the unfolding medium of our existence, our orientation toward life softens. We stop trying to dominate time and instead learn to inhabit it, to be present within it. This realization dismantles the myth of control and calls us to surrender to the flow of life, with all its unpredictability and messiness. The book offers several other practical and deeply philosophical suggestions that challenge our default assumptions about time and how we live within it. One powerful idea is to embrace what the author calls cosmic insignificance therapy. This is the notion that most of what we do, worry about, or stress over doesn't actually matter in the grand scheme of the universe. While this may sound nihilistic at first, it's profoundly liberating. It frees us from the burden of trying to get it all right or leave a perfect legacy. Instead, it encourages us to engage fully with the moment at hand, to do what's meaningful to us, not because it will outlast us, but because we're here now and life is happening now. When we stop trying to be universally significant, we become more present, more playful, and paradoxically, more connected to others. Another important suggestion is the idea of deciding what to neglect. The book argues that most modern stress doesn't come from having too little time, but from refusing to accept that we can't do everything. Once we internalize that reality, the challenge shifts from doing more to doing what matters most. That means choosing, and by extension, giving up. Instead of compulsively checking every email or saying yes to every request, we must become curators of our own time. This could mean choosing to prioritize time with family over social media, or going deep on one creative project instead of juggling 5. The act of consciously neglecting the non-essential is not failure, it's wisdom. It's how we shape a life that's less cluttered, more focused, and ultimately more fulfilling. The modern drive to master time, through apps, calendars, routines, and endless productivity hacks, promises clarity and peace, but often delivers the opposite. The more we try to dominate time, the more time seems to dominate us. This paradox is rooted in the illusion that life is a solvable puzzle, that if we just optimize hard enough, we can clear our schedules and finally breathe. But life isn't a math problem, it's a tide, and the pursuit of perfect time management becomes a form of self-oppression, where any moment not maximized begins to feel like a failure. We turn into task machines, constantly judging our value by output, and any pause starts to feel like wasted time. The emotional cost is subtle but corrosive: guilt, restlessness, and a perpetual sense of insufficiency. A clearer example of this is seen in the lives of many high-performing professionals. They build elaborate routines, waking at 5 a.m., tracking every calorie and step, working in 25-minute Pomodoro bursts, only to find themselves exhausted, alienated from their loved ones, and disconnected from the joy that first motivated their ambition. Rather than feeling empowered by their control over time, they often feel trapped inside their own systems. Time management, taken to this extreme, becomes not a tool for freedom, but a cage built with productivity metrics. This isn't to say structure is harmful. Rather, it's the obsession with total control that leaves us brittle and reactive when life inevitably veers off script. We rush through experiences, tasks, even relationships, under the illusion that faster is always better. But speed often strips life of its richness. Slow processes, raising children, nurturing friendships, building careers, healing, or even cooking a good meal, require patience. These are the things that make life worth living, and they do not lend themselves to acceleration. Learning to wait, to endure the present moment without constantly anticipating the next, is one of the most profound ways to reclaim our 4,000 weeks. The alternative, as the book gently proposes, is to stop trying to use time and start learning how to be in time. This shift is less about abandoning all structure and more about softening our grip on it. To be in time means to experience it as it unfolds, to allow moments to carry their own weight and meaning without rushing them toward utility. Imagine taking a walk without tracking your steps, or sitting with a friend without checking the clock. These seemingly unproductive acts carry an emotional and relational richness that no optimized schedule can replicate. This perspective invites practical, grounded changes. For instance, instead of maintaining a never-ending to-do list, we might identify just 3 meaningful tasks a day and devote our energy there, accepting that we won't get to everything, and that's okay. Or consider multitasking, a default mode for many, listening to a podcast while replying to emails and cooking dinner. Each task receives partial attention, and we leave the moment mentally scattered. Deep focus on one thing, whether that's chopping vegetables or drafting a proposal, tends to produce not only better results but a deeper sense of calm. Likewise, allowing unstructured time in your day may seem inefficient, but it opens space for spontaneous play, reflection, or rest, all of which are essential for emotional well-being and creativity. Leisure, in this view, is not laziness. It's the sacred counterpart to work, a space where life can bloom in unforced, joyful ways. Think of a child lost in imaginative play, or an adult absorbed in conversation at a dinner table. These are the moments people remember on their deathbeds, not the perfectly color-coded planner. When we accept that time is not a resource to hoard, but a flow to join, we stop treating life as a race and begin to inhabit it as a presence. In this way, the book doesn't merely critique the tyranny of time management. It offers a path to a more humane, grounded, and fulfilling relationship with time itself. By the end, the book delivers a powerful message. Our finite lives are not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be embraced. By embracing finitude, letting go of the impossible quest for perfect control, and choosing to engage deeply with the present, we open ourselves to a richer, more meaningful existence, Meaning arises not from doing everything, but from choosing a few things with care and giving ourselves fully to them. Love, beauty, connection, laughter, even sadness and struggle. These are the gifts hidden in our limited weeks. To live well is not to conquer time, but to dance with it. Thank you so much for listening and joining us. If you enjoyed this summary and found it valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more in-depth book breakdowns. Stay curious, keep learning, and we'll see you in the next video.